very, very innovative education pe charcha. I greet all of you with a tremendous sense of enthusiasm, and of course with a lot of gaiety, because this is the program we kick started for the entire students community, for the intelligentsia class, to enable them to understand exactly what, where, what are the things which are going on, on the educational front. Because in fact, as soon as you tune any channels on television, you find all sorts of political discussions, all sort of, all mundane pedestrian stuffs being offered, on a platter to all the audience, just in a very hackneyed, stereotypical manner. Hence, just to enable the students community to know exactly what is happening in these cataclysmic crisis, we just kick-started this unique program, designated as education pe charcha. It is, we are glad to announce that today it is the third series, and we have invited, as in case of earlier occasions, one of the educationists plus a corporate executive, a corporate leader in his own, in his own versatility, in his own myriad activities, and his, and his actions. All that we are going to understand a little while later. And I would like to thank all my viewers, basically just like to articulate this particular fact that we are offering this particular program, Education Pe Charcha, from this, the particular platform that is Vidya Dan. As the very name connotes and signifies, it means that we are trying to spread or disseminate information and, impart knowledge through this very, very lofty and exalted platform, in the name of Vidyadan Foundation. So, we thank the Vidyadan and its team for doing all these needful. My dear viewers, since it is the third program, as I had already communicated, in course of the preceding programs, we had invited two vice chancellors, both of them having distinctive careers, to their kitty. The first one, we in fact started this program with Dr. Jagannath Patnaik, a very venerable vice chancellor from ICFI University from Sikkim. And the second one, we also had another vice chancellor from Gorakhpur University, the Professor Rajesh Singhji. But then we cannot, as we have planned this particular program, rather tailored it, in such a way so that we can continue to have, all the galaxy of people from varied backgrounds to share their experiences with all of us, with all our viewers, and to enrich them on various parameters. And therefore, today, in course of today's interaction, I am so very glad to, since we already made the announcement, and I'm going to reiterate that in course of today's interaction, we have invited one of the corporate leaders who not only presided, managed the affairs of LIC at his initial stage of his career, but then was instrumental behind presiding over the destiny of Bajaj Alliance in the eastern zone and other parts of India. And then later he joined, that is Oman, United Oman Insurance Company, and he has been guiding its destiny in the capacity of a versatile general manager for health and for life, for almost, it is going to be a decade, for almost 9 years. The man, his name, the leader's name is Shri Sanjay Kumar Jha. Let me add some personal, my personal relations with Sri Sanjay Kumar Jha. He basically, he belongs to my village, in as much as I have been knowing him for quite so many years together. And, within such a short span of time, the amount of reputation that he has, gathered, or rather garnered, that indeed was really some sort of, what you can say, some sort of conundrum for me, some sort of puzzle for me. I remember, because if I don't say a little bit on my acquaintance with him, on his overall popularity, probably I will not be able to do justice to today's program. Once I know, in course of my the book, which is a pioneer book in the world on living legends, that is the living legends of Mithila, I came across some persons who were so much, rather singing praise in the name of Mr. Sanjay Kumar Jha, our today's honorable guest, that I was really taken in by surprise. On my inquiry, I came to know that when he was the zonal manager of Bajaj Alliance, he had provided jobs to thousands of people, not to one or two or 100, but to thousands of people. And you'll be further surprised that today, even a decade, he had decade before he had quit Bajaj Alliance, but even today, those people who were recruited by him continue to sing panegyrics for him, continue to be indebted to him for the job that they are holding today. It is being a man with a corporate vision. Sri Sanjay Kumar Jha, basically, he is an alumnus of Netherhart School, a very, very premier school. And, the school which has produced the galaxy of topmost people from different backgrounds. Many of the civil servants I personally claim to know, one of whom is Sri Anant Kumar Singh Sahab, who one of the topmost IS officers, also happens to be from Netherhart School. So Sanjay ji is an alumnus of a very, very popular school, Netherhart School. Little bit of his background becomes very appropriate, rather apt for me to describe, to elucidate, so that our viewers can know something more about him. He was awarded, basically Sanjay ji holds master degree in physics from Delhi University, schooling from Netherhart, as I already said. He was awarded National Talent Scholarship in 1985 and was also selected for Junior Research Fellowship in Physics by UGC CSIR. He joined LIC as Direct Recruit Officer in 1992, completed PGDM, that is Program Postgraduate Diploma in Management from IGNOU. Then he did his MDP from Indian Institute of Management, Ahmedabad. He's a fellow of Institute of Insurance Insurance Institute of India, qualified in both life and non-life streams. He's a fellow member of Chartered Institute Insurance United Kingdom. He has also an experience of 29 years in totality, both in straddling India and Oman. That is what I was telling you. And, especially in the areas of, that is life insurance company and future general life insurance. With the 9 years of international experience in managing the affairs of Oman, United Oman Insurance Company of Oman. Then so these are his very, very prolific backgrounds, illustrious background of Sri Sanjay Kumar Jha, who basically, is our today's honored guest. So Sanjay ji, I very much welcome you. I introduce you, sir, to our viewers today for a very, very engrossing, a captivating discussion between both of us. You are very, very welcome, sir, for today's program.
Thank you, Vivekaji.
Actually, I would just like before, since as I was giving an introduction to all my viewers, and one thing I would like to, I would like to communicate to all my viewers who are watching this scintillating program from across India and from abroad, that today our honored guest, Sri Sanjay Kumar Jha, one of the most illustrious leaders of insurance company and insurance jar rather, he is joining us today from Oman. They're from Muscat. So he is there, communicating with all of us from Muscat. Sanjay ji, actually, since I already described about your schooling background, about your alma mater, that is, Netherhart, about which we have heard a lot, and even we have got many school teachers and professors watching this program. And since your alma mater, that is, has its own luster, so could you please take us back to your schooling days and tell us that what shaped your destiny, what sort of benefits accrued to you from your schooling days, and how it shaped your career subsequently? Please throw some light on it, Sanjay ji. It is your time, sir. Please.
Thank you, Vivekaji. Thanks for kind words. I am not sure that I deserved all praise you have extended to me. To start with Netrahat has been a dream, mm, change event in my life. I still remember in 1980 when I was student of Jila School Darbhanga, and the result came, and I went to a newspaper shop and I saw my roll number. And while I was coming back, I was really feeling I'm on the cloud. So that was the moment. That is the most cherished moment in my life. Netarhat, as we know, as we all know, or many of us know, has been an experiment by Bihar government. In 1954, it started. It follows the Gurukul education system where there is there is a teacher whom we call Shrimanji. There is ashram. Hostels are called ashram, and Shrimanji and all students, we used to live in one, sort of hostel or host, you can say. The family of teacher is part of that hostel, so it's not a big setup. Say 20-25 students in a set in a hostel. So typical Gurukul concept, as we all know, this is the residential school, completely residential. The overall, the holistic learning, that is the focus. And then the sacred teacher student relationship, learning from group, practically learning from him. And then selection is selection basis for this school or this type of schools. In Gurukul, you know that attitude is very important. It's not only the typical subject matter knowledge. I remember when I was interviewed at final stage, there was a psychology teacher, and he assessed also our attitude or behavior whatsoever. But I still remember that time, that in 1980 that part was there. So if I talk of Netarhat, Netarhat truly shaped everything in my life. I'm not being extra emotional, but this remains fact that whatever Netarhat has given, no other institute or no other individual or organization can really. I can claim that I am indebted to, and I have gathered that much from anyone else. So Netarhat gave me value, which is typical of any Gurukul education system, the values in life. Then I will share one experience that in our hostels, which we call ashram, we have to do all daily chorus ourselves. Within the hostel premise, nobody is doing anything for us. So we have to clean the toilet, we have to serve the food, we have to clean the utensils, we have to do everything. All cleaning, everything we have to do ourselves. And we all stay together. So the work, someday my job is to clean utensils, kitchen, or other day my job is to serve the food. So we learned all those things at the tender age of 10, 12 years. So we started doing all those things from that time. Sort of, we were learn to do hard work, learn to be disciplined. So these are two most important things, the discipline and hard work. That were those two values were, very grossly, very importantly, very strongly inculcated in us. And that helped us in life thereafter. This gives you huge lot of confidence. You move to any situation, any part of the world, any geography, any organization, you know that you can survive all odds. So internally, people from Netarhat, I really feel that most of us internally they are not outwardly very flashy, but internally they are very strong, very confident, and they are very reliable in general. So it was a concept by the first chief minister of Bihar, and it was an experiment, and which succeeded a lot. You might be knowing that Jawahar Navodaya Vidyalaya. So today we might be having some 700 Jawahar Navodaya Vidyalaya across India. So that the concept got inspiration from Netarhat. Then Education Minister P.V. Narasimha Rao, who introduced this concept in 1986 under the PMship of Rajiv Gandhi. So he had visited Netarhat, and he borrowed this concept from there. And the whole concept of Jawahar Navodaya Vidyalaya, that came from Netarhat.
Fantastic. So in fact, it is a learning, it is a revelation for us, and we learned, this particular fact that you just tried to share with us. Sanjay ji, so in what some way or other, because you shared your experience with us, that how you people have been nurtured since your, since your boyhood days. Because at the age of 10 or 12, if we stay at home, we are so much cuddled. But it is some way of cuddling by by the parents, and the children, far from learning anything to self govern themselves, to do something, to do daily course and all that. They basically they end up being cajoled. So in one way or other, you people were trained into some sort of management skills right since your schooling days, and that somewhere down the down the line today, if you just happen to view your past in hindsight, you come with some sort of realization that some of the management skills which today you are applying in Oman, or you applied in India in life insurance or in Bajaj, you already learned in your childhood days when you were a student of Netarhat School. Your take on it, sir?
See, Vivekaji, I mean, I will give you some examples. Like in Netarhat, we used to address Naiji, like the Nai, no, we do not call, I mean, by name or anything like that. So, Naiji, Dhobiji, the respect we give to everybody, even to the cook who used to cook for us. So, the respect to each individual is irrespective of their financial or social status. So that was one learning I vividly remember that helped not only in LIC, in private sector also. I mean, giving respect to each individual, your office boy, your peon, or lower staffs, junior colleagues. So these things matter a lot. I mean, we are ultimately in a service industry or in any management or any organization. Ultimately, people management is very important. So people tend to give their best if you handle them in optimal manner. So these are small things, small but very critical things. See, in Netrahat, like of course it was government, it is government school and fully funded by government. And if I can share with you, like in my school, anybody can. I mean, there was a merit exam, and then people were selected, and then the fees. Depending on a financial background, you have to pay the fee. So suppose somebody is poor, then everything is free for him. Somebody is slightly rich or richer, then his fees are different. But in no case, fees were, I mean, in the maximum fee at that point of time, I remember it was 1800 rupees in a year, inclusive of everything. So stay, food, everything. And then once you pay the fee and you are admitted there, then there is nothing different. I mean, as a student, you are not allowed to carry anything from home. So everything is given by school, everything is uniform. So till the time you do not come out of you come out of school, you do not know somebody is rich from family or not, or poor, because we all are wearing same clothes, same khadi, pajama, kurta, or whatsoever. So everything is uniform. You get same food, same books. So there is nothing to distinguish us from each other. So that equality, sense of equality, I mean, we all in one hostel, say there are 20, 25 students. So all are from different, I mean, there are somebody from 6th class, somebody from 12th class, and somebody from some section of society, somebody from different section of society, but there is no differentiation. So that helped us to value individual, value the group, value the work ethics. These things are very, I mean, peculiar, which we learn in a typical Gurukul education system, and particularly in Netherlands.
So basically, though we are, in fact, since you have given us so much facts about the Netarhat school, about which we are not aware, or many of our viewers might not be aware of. So, we are thanking you for giving so much exposure to that, to your schooling days. Now, coming to a very important question, Sanjay ji, you basically have been a student of physics because you did your honors from Delhi school, the Delhi, university,
Yes.
honors in physics. Now you also got you secured scholarship also in 1985. And but one thing I would like to know, that being so much overwhelmingly interested in physics, what was the cause that could be attributed to your switch over from the research field to that of joining the LIC as its first class officer? What in fact prompted you, for that particular switch over? Because, you secured scholarship and you are determined to go for research, in as much as your very enrollment with the Delhi University, in the area of physics is a vindication of that particular fact. But then you joined LIC as a first class officer in 1992. So what was the factor that contributed towards that tectonic shift? I would just like to dub it as a tectonic shift. Please, your take on this.
Now, I'd be very frank here. I mean, see, if you remember our days, that time compared to today's time, that time we were all graduates. We were not choosing many things. There were not many disciplines to opt for. So physics was one subject which was of my liking. So I was very clear that I will be joining civil services or these type of jobs. But there was nothing in my mind that I will be doing research in physics. So since I was liking physics, so I did physics honors. And before I would complete MSc, I joined LIC. So fortunately, my LIC training was in Delhi, so I could complete my last semester of MSc. And I wrote this JRF exam also after joining LIC. So fortunately, I passed, but I had no real interest. Not interest, not intent to do research in physics. So that was a qualification, and at that time, that for any government job, you ought to be a graduate, and so I just opted physics because physics I was liking. So there was not conscious thought that I'm doing physics and shifting to any other thing.
Okay. Sanjay, now, as you say, the questions automatically comes to my mind that once having joined LIC, and even today, not to speak of our days, even today, there is some sort of exceptional craze for the government jobs. When you joined LIC, especially in case of Bihar, Bengal, Odisha, in the eastern region, people have a tremendous craving and a tremendous penchant for joining the government service. Once when you became a part of LIC's bandwagon, of course, your family members, even the fellow villagers were definitely delighted at this particular news. But then after working with the LIC for so many years, you then, which very few people can dare to pick up the gauntlet and to quit the government job, indeed took up that particular cudgel. You quit that government job and then switched over to the private sector. It was some sort of innovative step at that particular point in time when I would say few, or rather fewer, would take so much risk in quitting the government job and embracing the private sector. So what were your, what were the reasons behind taking such decision, especially when your decision might have been, I think might have been countered by your family members, because, at that time I can at least foresee the past. Nobody would have been happier when you are, leaving a secure job and, entering into some sort of uncharted path, unconventional path. For a government officer to join private sector, especially decades back, was something, very unconventional. So please, your take on this.
I fully agree with you. I mean, that was a very tough decision. I still remember it was in 2001. And to share with you, I had spent almost 9 years by then in LIC. I was a branch manager at that point of time, and maybe I can share that maybe till today, I would have been that time also, I was the youngest branch manager in LIC. When I was branch manager, promoted as branch manager in LIC, I was of 25 years of age. So why I'm telling this, that I had a very good career till then in LIC. I was job rotated and then promoted, and I was branch manager of 5 years, standing in 2001. And then when the market opened, it was, LIC, when we joined, it was only LIC, and then slowly Malhotra committee and all those things, and finally implemented in 2000. And the private sectors, they started operating. So it was a very tough decision for me. But then what thought, the credit I will give to my Mumbai posting, since I was in Mumbai at that point of time. So the environment, the whole there were people who were ready to leave. Maybe had it been at that point of time in Bihar, maybe I would not have decided to leave. But that encouragement from colleagues that, okay, we can leave. And the thought that the rational thought which came into my mind, I did some research, small research, I cannot say it research, like that. There was a vendor who was supplying eggs to shops in the morning and evening. And I was branch manager in Bhandup at that point of time. One fine day, just I asked how much you earn. And he said that I earn some 20,000. And how much time you spend? I spend some 1 hour in the morning, so 1 hour in the evening. And my salary, my take home, maybe I was having car from LIC and all those things, but my take home salary would be around 20,000 at that point of time in 2001. So I thought that if he is earning 20,000, I am a MSc physics. I can give private tuition, so I should not worry too much about job security and all that, because that was the prime concern of losing jobs in private sector. LIC is giving you guaranteed job and all those things. So the turning point, I mean, the most critical factor was that was an opportunity once in a lifetime. I mean, either I leave LIC today, that I'm talking about 2001, or I do not leave LIC at all. So I know if I leave, it will be irreversible decision. I cannot take it back. But if I do not leave, I won't get this opportunity ever again in my life, because now the sector is opening up. So if I'm leaving early, I will be getting advantage of leaving early. So finally, I thought that I had 10 years or 1 decade of public sector experience. Let me take the experience of private sector, the newly opening up sector. So that's the way it. I mean, I decided. And as far as my family is concerned, I will be very honest. I did not dare to speak with my family, discuss with my parents till the time I resigned. When I resigned, then only I told them, because I was sure that they were not going to allow me to leave. So that is the way it went.
Means by the time the offer was already given to you by Bajaj Alliance, means before
No, I
resignation.
joined. Yeah, I got the offer and I resigned LIC, and then I found my father.
So what was the
And
what was the reaction of
he
your?
was he was shocked. He was shocked as expected, and for 3 4 days, I mean, my mom told me later that he was not taking foods and all the things. It was very difficult for him to digest. But then, I mean, I'm thankful to God that I made him proud even after leaving LIC.
So viewers, here actually this is a very important point that our today's honored guest Sri Sanjay ji has made. And this point, it is for the absorption and for the assimilation of vast section of students community, that today there is a mad frenzy. I would say I am using this particular phrase, frenzy, for joining the government sector. But here is a man, a leader, a corporate leader, who despite being hugely successful in his career, because the career that spanned for 9 years, he served Life Insurance Corporation with distinction, as he himself confirmed it, that at the youngest age he was given the responsibility to manage a particular branch. He was designated as a branch manager with such a successful career to his kitty. When he saw that greater opportunities awaited him, he never looked back. He never had a second thought that no, I should continue with the same job because it is a very much secure job, safe and secure job. He instantly took a plunge. And today I tell you, there are very few people, in the insurance sector who is as much successful as our beloved brother Sri Sanjay Kumar Jha. This is also one of the reasons why I, cordially invited him, and gracefully he accepted my offer, to be a part and parcel of today's proceeding, because this is a lesson that he is imparting to our current generation of managers, that despite being hugely successful in the government sector, government organization, you know of such a of such a lofty institution like LIC, he did not even think second before quitting the job and entered into the private sector. And today, the extent and the magnitude of the success that can be attributed to him is all because of the decision that he took decades back, when he decided to quit LIC and joined Bajaj Alliance. This is what the decision, since most of you may join the MBA career, management careers in the future. So you should know the decision making plays a pivotal role in shaping the destiny of an individual. And Sanjay ji, our today's honored guest, bears a living testimony to this particular fact, that how decision making, quick decision making, can take a man to a greater height in his life. And that is, he is the living testimony of that. Thank you, Sanjay ji, for asserting or for emphasizing on this very, very crucial fact. Now, sir, I would like to know, just now you said that in 2000, IRDA, Insurance Regulatory Development Authority, Insurance Regulation Development Authority of India was promulgated. Now, with the coming of IRDA, the government started selling its, inviting the FDI in the insurance sector, and from FDI was invited. Now, I remember there was a tremendous amount of resistance, and even there was some sort of rumor flying thick and thin that with the entry of private sector, the insurance sector will stand vitiated. Even the risk factor of the investor, of the policy holders, will increase by leaps and bounds, because the private players are not going to be conscious about paying back the return of their investment. So in such a psychology prevailed then, and when IRDA took over by way of a regulator, of insurance sector. So what is your opinion today? You know, just uh, just correlating your experience back then as a manager of LIC, and today as a manager overseas of insurance company in Oman, that how do you think that the entry of private player in the insurance sector, whether it has added value to the insurance sector, whether in terms of both enhancing the overall economic values, as well as guaranteeing the future of the investment of the policy holders, of the as well as of the investors, the financial investors. So please try to reconcile this point from both the perspective, as a manager of LIC, as well as today as a manager, or as a manager of Bajaj Alliance later, as well as today as a manager of United Insurance in Oman. Please, your take, Sanjay ji.
Yeah, this is a very important question, a very good question. I mean, when I left LIC in 2001, you can very well gauge that I was with LIC when the discussion or opening up of sector was announced. So I definitely faced within LIC, I faced these questions. So I was part of LIC when these things were happening. So Malhotra committee was set up in 92 or 93, and report came in 93, and then finally IRDA came into being in 99. Private sector started operation in 2000, and I left in 2001. So I was, for quite a number of years, I was with LIC, and I was handling these queries and questions from within. So I had no, even at that point of time, when I was part of LIC, I had no confusion, no doubt that be it private insurance player or government insurance player, ultimately the regulator, see, I will tell you one thing, insurance is highly or most regulated sector, any part in the world. So unlike any other business, you just cannot go and start doing insurance. Finds it requires a minimum level of capital, it requires so many things. So it's highly regulated. It's not that you can just cheat public and get money and wind up business. So it's not that very simple. So solvency is very tightly monitored. So it is very much, I mean, the customers' benefits are 100%. I won't say 100%. Theoretically, it is not possible to say 100%, but customers' benefit are 99.9% assured, being as long as regulation is tough and controlled and regulation is apt. All you buy a policy from private insurance player or LIC or anybody else, your benefits are definitely secured. The return wise, whether you are getting more bonus in some company or less bonus in other company, that depends on that company's individual investment performance and other expenses and all those things. So I won't get into that part. But as far as the safety of money is concerned, definitely it is safe for everyone. So I had no doubt about that when I was with LIC also. See, I will just give you some idea of what is insurance. See, if you look at the human need, basic human needs, at times, I mean, the food was the first human need. And then might be the shelter and roti kapra aur makan, what we call. So food and shelter, then might the clothing came later. And then in modern time, in current time, the health is the fourth basic need. And fourth or fifth basic need is financial security. So in today's time, financial security is also a very basic human need. And insurance is a very typically very innovative and very creative way of taking care of that financial security. I mean, if I will give you a simple example that if I buy a, let's say, life insurance policy of, say, 1 crore, I might be paying some 1,000 rupees or 10,000, 20,000, 30,000 rupees a year, a premium. So I'm buying an asset of 1 crore by paying a premium of a few thousand, maybe 25, 30,000, say for 10 years. So that way you cannot buy any asset at such a cheap price. So that financial security you get at a very low price that only insurance provides. That way, if you are collecting money from people promising this, there has to be a mechanism where everything is well regulated. So how you price, what are your expenses, what are your promises to customers, how you are able to deliver those promises. These are very well controlled, governed, regulated, monitored by a regulator. So IRDA, which came into being in 1999, thereafter, and the initial challenge of IRDA, what I can say from here, since I'm not part of Indian insurance industry as of now, so maybe more, I mean, objectively, I can say that initially IRDA challenge from customer perspective I'm not talking from insurer perspective. The mis-selling was very prominent or dominant in insurance sector, particularly in life insurance sector, and even in other insurance businesses, other lines of businesses. The product definitions, the terms, the exclusions, these things were not very commonly understood by individuals. So you buy a policy thinking that you are buying an insurance cover, and then at the time of claim you are denied the claim because the interpretation of that term or your understanding of that benefit was different than insurer's understanding. So IRDA did a lot in controlling mis-selling, and very remarkably, I mean, within a span of say 5-6 years, I think it was very much controlled, or maybe less than that. So mis-selling was controlled a lot. The IRDA reduced the acquisition cost margin. I mean, you cannot pay more than this much commission on this product. So all those things are controlled, and finally, there is very limited, I mean, mis-selling. Maybe, I mean, you cannot completely remove these type of things in any transaction, but there is very minimal amount of mis-selling. So that was the major role of IRDA. Then the product part. I mean, before privatization, there was insurance controller of insurance. Since there was LIC, there was public sector, so there was not much need of regulations and controlling or regulated. So once private sector came up, then many things came up. So over a period, IRDA also, I mean, ULIP. If I talk of your main question was what private sector contributed. See, private sector contributed very much in the development of insurance industry in India. I mean, I will give you simple examples like ULIP, unit linked product or investment linked product. So that product was primarily, I mean, driven by this whole concept was popularized by private sector. Although the LIC was also having ULIP, but even when I was in LIC, I was not knowing much about ULIP, and we were not selling ULIP. So ULIP in popular form was popularized by private sector. The concept of satellite branches. I can tell you that I joined LIC of India in 1992, and 93 I was posted in Maharashtra in one small branch. That was the last branch of LIC, 2048 branch, which after that LIC did not open any branch for long. So concept of satellite was brought by private sector, and I take pride in saying that the Bajaj Alliance was pioneer in that. I mean, when you talk of job opportunities and all those things. So fortunately, I was there in this sector at a point of time when the expansion was happening. So I was needing people, and then since we were expanding and we were needing people, so if I'm working in Bihar and if I know many people, there was no need to pay to a placement agency to get human resources. So and I mean, it was very satisfying moment for me to get Allianz, the global giant, opening its branch in Jhanjharpur, our home town, you can say. So we expanded to many places in 2004-5 through satellite model, And many places like Chatra in Jharkhand, where we opened branch, LIC did not have branch till then. In Ladakh also we opened branch. LIC did not have branch by then. I'm not very sure, but most likely. So what I'm trying to tell you that LIC did not think of many things in say 50 years of time, what private sector brought in couple of years. So product innovation, definitely private sector played a key role. The expansion, the distribution channel, those things, private sector played a very key role. Even in pandemic time, I, I, I mean, remotely monitor, mm, not monitor, I try to follow some of insurance development in India. And I understand a private insurance company was the first insurance company in general insurance space, which brought a COVID product for the first time. So many innovations came from private sector. So we have to give credit to private sector for those things.
One thing, Sanjay ji, since you elaborated on the role of the private sector, a very prominent question comes readily to my mind because LIC being a government organization, the various stakeholders, especially the policy holders, they had an unshakable faith in the government. So because they knew that their investment would not go down the drain. In any case, even the government goes bankrupt, the government will have to pay. That was the mindset of the people. But when the private sector stepped in, of course, these people must have had their own misgivings, their own sense of skepticism. So when you presided over, in some form or other of the destiny of Bajaj Alliance, did you face that sort of hurdle, the mindset hurdle on the part of the policy holders or on the part of the customers, because they would have been reluctant enough to invest in Bajaj vis-a-vis that of LIC. So you must have faced a lot of troubles then. Your take on this?
Definitely. I mean, there is no end to that. I mean, I will start with one funny case when I was area manager in Lucknow, and one customer came for his Bajaj scooter complaint to our office. So, I mean, that was a funny part of it. But definitely, I mean, people's belief in LIC is, I mean, huge. You cannot just match that. And LIC deserves, in all respect, and public in general. And there are regions, the right regions. See, LICs, everything is LICs. Many things are government guaranteed. Sovereign guarantee is there with LIC. So LIC, when LIC talks of some promises in terms of guaranteed benefit, not for bonus, that has got sovereign guarantee. So a public in general will definitely have this thought, and I and my team, everybody, we had to struggle a lot, and we had a lot of training, presentations, a lot of, I mean, convincing to our agents. All those things we faced a lot. I mean, it continued for many years. Not, I mean, I am sure that even now, a private sector player would be feeling these type of issues. Of course, the resistance is much lesser now, but these were very common issue. We handled all these things.
So you can say in some way or other, the coming into existence of IRDA had, even if it failed to dispel the overall misgivings on the part of the customers, but nevertheless, to a substantial extent, the coming into existence of this regulator had almost softened the stand of the investors, pertaining to the investment in the private sector. What do you say on this particular point?
For sure, I mean, regulator is basically for customers. So regulator, I mean, if anybody has to define one job of regulator is there only to ensure that customer is getting whatever is due to them. So that way, I mean, IRDA has definitely done everything to ensure that all licensed insurance companies are having enough solvency margin. They are all solvent. They are capable to honor their promises, what they have sold to their customers. So definitely, regulator has. I mean, I am very small to comment on these things, but regulator has definitely done a great job in ensuring these things, and I mean, that is true for any part of world. I mean, everywhere. In Oman, if I compare here, the regulator also, they're very strong, very strict as far as customer dealing is concerned. You cannot promise any benefit which you cannot deliver You have to give all scenarios. I mean, when you launch a product, there is actuarial certification. I mean, not to launch a product, before we file a product, we have to have all actuarial certification, all simulations, all, I mean, next 5 years, how the product would sell, how it will make profit, how it will pay claims. So everything is technically, scientifically studied. I mean, submitted, and then regulator only approves a product, and then only we can sell. And I mean, slightly technical thing, that there is a mathematical reserve concept. So whenever you write a risk, there has to be equivalent amount of mathematical reserve with insurance company. And most of the regulations in India, I mean, in India, it is 1.5 times 150% you have to keep mathematical reserve. So that 50% is additional cushion. So definitely all reserves and regulators' job is to ensure that reserves are adequate and reserves are scientifically designed, and all insurance companies are maintaining those all reserves. And you might be knowing that like IFRS 17, which is going to be implemented in 2023, which was to be implemented in 2021 and now postponed because of pandemic. Or so that IFRS thing, and then risk-based liability. So if you are writing a riskier business, then you have to keep higher, I mean, reserves. So these things are going to change even in Oman and even in India. So maybe in another couple of years, we will be finding these things, that insurance companies will be finding some challenges in handling capital issues, because if you have to have capital which is linked to how you write, what type of risk you are writing, then maybe, but some insurance company would be needing to keep more reserves, more capital, and then maybe your shareholders are not ready to infuse more capital, then there could be some merger. So next couple of years, maybe we'll be seeing some mergers in different market, because IFRS is happening across the globe, and most of the countries are implementing it, including Oman and India. So as far as, I mean, I can simply in one line I can repeat that as far as customer is concerned, if you're buying a policy, you can be rest assured that your claim, if it is promised in policy, you will be paid.
So Sanjay ji, basically, means, as you say that International Financial Reporting Standard 23, as it is being implemented, there will be a greater uniformity across the globe, especially in the case of insurance sector, because 23 IFRS is attributed to insurance sector. Now, one thing, so since you have already managed the affairs of India, Indian insurance company, and now you are almost presiding over the destiny of Oman, United Oman Insurance. So what means what fundamental differences in terms of application of management skills that you found noticeable while managing the affairs of these of the insurance companies of these two different countries, especially when you manage the domestic affairs, and now you are almost playing an international role, by your managing the affairs of United Insurance of Oman. So what are the basic fundamental differences that you experienced?
See, I mean, if we compare both insurance sector in Oman and India, in India we have, as per laws, as per regulation, we have separate insurance companies for life, separate for general. In Oman, we have separate licenses for life and separate license for general, but as a company, we are one company. So there is a composite insurer concept. So we are a composite insurer. We sell all type of insurance products, including life, general, health. And I take part of, take responsibility of part of that business. I'm not CEO, or I'm not taking care of everything of Oman United, just to clarify. I'm GM of life and health. So I take responsibility of P&L of life and health. So there is a difference. First difference, that we are a composite insurer. In India, the composite insurer concept is not there. And in terms of product, if you look at, see, globally also general insurance, that general insurance is motor and other types of businesses are general insurance, and life insurance, that human life, whenever we cover, that is, unqualified death when we cover, that is life insurance. So in India, life insurance has got major component of savings element. So in Indian market, if you look at the, I mean, if you look at the data, the Indian life insurance last year, the premium was 5.72 lakhs crores, while general insurance was 3.4 lakhs crores. So what I'm trying to tell that out of say 10 lakhs, roughly 10 lakh, 9 lakhs of total, 9 lakhs crores of total business, general insurance was having some 40% business share. While in other parts of world, it is not the case because savings products are not so popular with insurance company, and primarily general, I mean, risk, life insurance, term insurance, and then general insurance. So general insurance in Oman also has got major share. So in my company, maybe 70% share would be general insurance. So general insurance component is more compared to life insurance. That is one. The distribution is different. Like in India, you will find agents, retail agents who are selling life insurance. Here, you do not have in this part of the world or many parts of the world, we do not have a retail agency as popular as in India. So we have very few retail individual agents. There are more corporate broker-based business. So bank insurance, then online insurance. So there are not many individuals who are there to sell, to take insurance policy to your doorstep. So that is the basic, I mean, selling difference you can find here. Products are different. Savings product hardly anybody is buying. So since there are no buyer takers, so we do not have many products or we do not sell. And then the, I mean, in life insurance, if anybody is taking loan from bank, then there is credit life insurance, and then you are taking insurance for that particular part of a loan. So that is very popular here. So you take loan, and along with loan, you have to buy life insurance, so which is not very common in India. So products are different. Composition of insurance company is different as a composite insurance insurer. But otherwise, the basic nature, see, I will tell you just one thing, that insurance is not a very new business. I mean, there are insurance companies like Generali I was working with. Generally, some 180 years so old insurance company. So insurance is a slightly, I mean, not slightly, and quite old established business. So many things of insurance is very commonly known to different players, different part of the world. So basics remain same in any part of the world. So even though this is a composite insurance company, but as an insurer, what is my main job? My main job is to identify risk, classify risk, and price risk. So underwriting of risk, that is, as an insurer, that is my main job. Anybody's, I mean, insurance company is basically doing what? Pricing the risk. So that is the main job. That the nature of that, pricing the risk, identifying the risk, that remains same in India or in Oman. But as I told you, the products are different. So not everybody is here. They do not want any pension policy. They are not looking at any savings policy. So they are taking insurance, but like property insurance, maybe you have not taken your home insurance in India. I have not taken my home insurance in India, but here many of the individuals, they are buying property insurance. So that way, insurance as a risk mitigation tool. So that understanding, I find that it is better here. More individual people are buying insurance for their individual needs, which is not so common in India.
Fantastic. Sanjay ji, since you took up an insurance job at your very young age, rather you chose insurance as your career, and today you are definitely at the, as I say, that at the topmost level in the corporate hierarchy, in an insurance sector. And insurance sector being one of the largest employers, since the private player has already entered this particular market. So being an employer of vast number of employable youth, what exactly you think, how the students community, those who are looking for a career in insurance, what should be their way, their approach towards their studies, towards their preparation, how they should means finally shape their overall preparation and join insurance sector with aplomb. So what should be your advice to the vast students who are looking up to insurance for their career, prospect, for their career planning?
This is very relevant question. I feel, see, I will take my example. When you had this question, why I did a BSc Physics or MSc Physics and then I joined insurance. So that is not the case, and that should not be the case going forward. So people who want to do insurance, take up insurance career, they should be joining insurance specific course at graduation level. Unfortunately, or maybe I'm missing something, but if I look at this part of the world in GCC and Gulf area, I mean Gulf region, many of the actuaries, you know that actuarial, you might be knowing the actuarial science and mathematics, all those things. So actuary is a very demanding profession and very rewarding profession in insurance sector. And nowadays, the importance of actuaries goes beyond insurance market. Earlier, actuaries were only for life insurance. Now the regulator wants them for medical insurance, for general insurance also. The demand of actuaries are really going up. But what I find in this market that not many Indian actuaries are here, because when you look at Indian actuaries number, we don't have too many Indian actuaries in a vast population. We hardly have, I think, 280 or 300 total actuaries in India. So what I find difference, like I will take example of Pakistan. So in Pakistan, after 12th, you can do a full-fledged actuarial course. So there is no need for you to do graduation and then you do the actuary and follow fellowship and all that. And they get recognition from UK actuarial body also. So there, at a very young age, you are fellow of, you get fellowship in actuary, even recognized by UK. So here you will find many actuaries who are from that part of the world, many Egyptian, many Pakistanis, while you don't have many Indian actuaries working in this part. While we have many talented people, I mean, there is, I don't need to tell, but we all know the talent level of Indian people. But somehow this particular course, even now, yesterday I was searching for today's discussion, whether there are many institutes who are offering actuarial course at graduation level. I could not find many. So maybe institutes also have to do something that for doing actuarial course, why you should complete graduation and then only you do mathematics or stats graduation, then only you can do actuary. So there could be many courses after 12th. So that, and if there are universities which are offering these courses, definitely students can join. I know, I mean, if you talk of insurance specific institutes, you have Insurance Institute of India, you have NIA, National Insurance Academy, which is in Pune. And then you have in Greater Noida, you have BIMTech. They provide PG diploma course in insurance risk management. They have, and then we have IIRM of Hyderabad. They're also providing postgraduate diploma in life, general, risk management, even actuarial science also. And then there is MET in Noida, which is providing actuarial courses. I think in graduation also, I'm not very sure. But I could not really find many insurance-specific courses. So I will give you one, and I won't take much time, but there is one example very relevant to share, that one of the person I was hiring here in my team in Oman United, and the guy has done geology in graduation or maybe post-graduation. And he joined LIC like me, joined LIC as direct recruit, and he was having a good experience of LIC in private sector. But here the Ministry of Employment, which is, because if you hire any expat, you have to have a local government clearance also. So they were not clearing his application because they were telling that he's not having an insurance qualification. And it was very difficult for me to convince them that in India, if you are a graduate, we are good enough for doing everything, and there is no specific insurance qualification per se. So you do graduation, then there is all India exam, then you join some insurance company, and then you keep on adding professional qualification through Insurance Institute of India. So that way we all work. But that is not that way it does not work in many part of the world. So I'm not sure. I'm off from Indian market for long, so I'm not sure of specifics whether how many universities or institutes are offering insurance specific graduation courses. But if they offer, definitely you have huge opportunity joining them. And if they do not offer, I mean, at my in my small way, I can request them. This is a gap, and our market should be, sensitive enough to create talent pool. And there is vast market, not only in India, outside India. Actuarial science is going to be even now it is very demanding, and going to be very demanding in many other fields. They require actuaries to do these type of, modeling, forecasting, and all that. So it is not limited to insurance per se. So actual course is one thing, and otherwise management and all those things at graduation level, if you are doing it, is better. And if the courses are not available, then you can join many of postgraduate diploma courses. And definitely you will be having any person qualifying, acquiring these qualifications from good institutes, like I have mentioned, BIMTech and all those. So definitely you stand very good chance in employment also.
So viewers, you have heard our today's honored guest, Shri Sanjay Kumar Jha, throwing an adequate light on employment opportunity, where he categorically stressed upon the inadequacy of our own experts in the field of actuary valuation. We don't have many people doing actuarial valuation course here, and therefore there is a very good opportunity in actuary specialization. And as he suggested, that if there are insufficient number of institutes which are providing this particular course, pursuing the risk management course can be an alternative, can be an alternative. But still, we have to create such opportunities so that actuarial valuation or actuary course can be spread among the masses, because it offers a very good employment opportunity. This is what our expert, today's guest of honor, a man who has an experience of more than 29 years in the field of insurance, he says in a very commanding and in an instantaneous sort of recommendation, that if at all the students en masse, if they pursue the course of this actuarial valuation, obviously it is going to stand them in good stead. And therefore I appeal to all my viewers, because we have several thousands of viewers, those who are already watching it or who will watch it later, to lend credence to what our expert says today, that actuarial valuations should be taken up as a very good career option. And as Sri Sanjay ji was telling, that even Pakistan and some of the Egypt Gulf countries, they have plenty of actuaries, because the course of actuary course is being taught at these countries, whereas we are somewhere down the line, we are really lagging behind, even if not languishing at the bottom, because he has already named few premier institutes which are already offering this particular course, but there is an immediate need for expanding its overall base, and consequently we need to teach these courses at many other institutes. So basically today it was a very scintillating conversation with one of the pragmatist, a corporate pragmatist, who already experienced the Indian market, and now experiencing the Oman market and international market. So whatever insight he has offered today in course of our interaction, I'm sure definitely would have proved very productive to all those vast number of audience who have watched and will watch in the watch after this interaction is over. So basically, this is the Education Pe Charcha, where we are bringing all experts in different fields. As what you have seen in this was our third series of Education Pe Charcha. And on next Saturday, I take this opportunity to inform you, we are going to invite Sri Ajay Thakur, the Bombay Stock Exchange MSc director, for his views, enlightened views, his insight into the stock exchange market. We know what exactly is the meaning of Sensex. Many people do not understand. He is going to throw light on it, but that will happen on next Saturday. But today we have had a wonderful, engrossing session with my brother Sri Sanjay Kumar Jha, one of the insurance jars, And I knew that given his, very versatile experience, both in Indian market as well as that in Oman, that he is going to enlighten all of us with his versatility. Because he has been a brilliant student since, his very babyhood. I would say since his babyhood, he had shown, the brilliance of evolving himself as a one of the, as a corporate leader. Undoubtedly, indubitably, one of the most, successful people from Mithila, most successful man from our village. And therefore, I thought that his, gracing and blessing this education pe charcha will definitely enlighten our all viewers who are going to be part and parcel of this bandwagon of education pe charcha